welcome. Hi, nice to see you. And thank you so much for being willing to share your testimony with us. So, first of all, we want to know who are you, where are you from, and what program did you join?
So I'm Rhiannon Davis. I'm 22 and I'm from London. And I just completed the core program for high noon.
Yeah, okay. Why did you decide to join the program?
I was quite intrigued. I heard about high noon from David, who's in my community,
Mm.
and I know a few sisters who also did high noon. Um, Yeah, and I've heard about it a lot, so I was just like I wanted to see what it was, and it I wanted to feel like more connected to sisters who we can share like difficult conversations sometimes. I
Mm.
feel like it's difficult to talk about these things. So yeah, I was really intrigued to see, yeah, what it was all about.
Mm. Okay. So yeah, how was the program for you? How did it impact your having gone through the program?
Yeah, I think it was really great. Like I really enjoyed it. The weekly 100Ks were a great source of reflection, and just the fact that there's like a check-in every week really pushed me to reflect more, and the content and kind of sharing your goals and being accountable with each other was really great. And yeah. Mhm.
Mm. Yeah. So the purpose of the program is preparing for marriage and the blessing. So how do you think that you were able to, what did you get from the program in terms of preparing for marriage?
Mm. I think one of the new concepts that I kind of heard from High Noon was how important it was to think about your sexuality as a single person. And
Mm.
I've never really heard of that before, and that was really interesting. Um, so yeah, it really made me focus about the things that I need to work on with myself. Like, for example, I live alone. So I'm very accountable for what I do in my alone time when no one is around, and how I use my time and how I can become like my ideal version of myself for when I become a wife, so that I
Mm.
can meet my future husband at that level, and yeah, get rid of habits, not focusing on the bad. Obviously, there's a lot of acknowledgement on what bad habits you have, but also like that goal and that what you're working towards, and that is like a beautiful, happy thing that you can go towards, and that God can receive joy from your life and the way you live. And yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So the focus on creating a North Star goal, a vision that helped you in, throughout the program, would you say that, um, yeah, that's a focus that you like, right? Um, so, yeah, what was the aspect that you liked the most in the program?
Yeah, I think the I really enjoyed just the emphasis that this is not just about like sexuality too. It's also about like just having these characteristics that you can have with every aspect of your life. So
Mm.
obviously like the five kind of core values: honesty, integrity, responsibility, like those things are so just important for
Mm.
any person as well, not just young people. Um, to really kind of have those like goals and characteristics in mind. And they're also like you're not going to be perfect as well, but it's that constant kind of acceptance and then giving yourself grace,
Mm,
healing and taking steps forward. I think that was really healing and really, um, yeah, it was very like profound and very, um, very honest and very confronting. And I think those things are really good.
mm, yeah. So how do you feel in your relationship towards blessing and matching and marriage after having done the program?
Yeah, I mean, it's given me a lot of hope. I'm like, I feel excited, really. Um, yeah, I feel excited for like my life and just having so much like faith that, God is always working. Um, if I'm working as well,
Mhm,
and I'm putting
mhm,
in the work and the effort, um, to become like my dream wife and stuff
mhm,
like that. But yeah.
mhm. Yeah, awesome. That's great. I'm glad you got that out of the program as well. Um, so what things did you commit to do after the program in connection to that journey towards marriage and blessing?
Mhm. I've done like a few conditions. I
Mm-hmm.
think just right off the bat, I think I needed to do. I did like a cold shower condition because I
Mm,
think it's a very like bodily thing, and we get tied down by our like bodily desires to, stay in bed, and
mhm,
just that was like what I was struggling with a lot, kind of being overwhelmed and very stressed about a lot of things. So I wanted to mainly like take responsibility and be accountable and have integrity, because I think once I started making these goals that I was showing up for and I was doing these conditions, and it was really helping me feel like like I have integrity,
mhm,
because I was kind of carrying it out. And I just kept, reminding myself like this was like a personal kind of reminder, just like what would I do like if I had, my husband that I don't have at the moment, but what would I do? How would I act? And just kind of
mhm,
have that like ideal in my head,
mhm,
and just keep pushing and knowing that like through these adversities that I was facing, I can meet God on the other side. Um, yeah, and just training myself to kind of have these like from like bad triggers to good triggers, I think.
mhm, mhm.
And just training my head to kind of go there, be like, no, there's so much beauty and there's so much joy and love in my future. So that's like the direction that I need to go. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's really good. Beautiful. Thank you. Um, yeah. So what are your plans for the next steps that you feel like you can take after having done all this work in this past cycle?
Yeah, so I joined Ascend because I was like, I miss these group calls. They're really great. I get to meet like sisters from across the world,
Mm,
and just have these like weekly check-ins. I think is so valuable, because I'm quite bad at like reflecting.
mm,
So if I have people to kind of check in and learn what they're going through, I really feel like I can connect, and like praying with them. It's very, very healing and very nice. So yeah, I joined Ascend, and then the next steps would be like maybe my blessing interview and
mm,
just things like that while I finish my final year at school. So
mm.
yeah, good things.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like seems like you're aware of the things that you know that you had to work on, right? And you are taking steps towards that. So again, right, for having integrity, you're already showing up those yeah, steps towards that. Um, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. yeah, would last question. Would you recommend the program to somebody else? To anyone
Yes,
that would like
I think
that is in your audience?
yeah, I would. It's really great, but I think depending on how much you want to get out of it, it depends on how much you put into it.
Mm,
Because I'm saying all these great things, but I think there were definitely times where it was difficult for me and I was confronted with a lot of things because I think your mind is so now focused on this course and like all these things and you're very aware of like what you're doing and sometimes like really negative emotions come up. So it's really about facing those
mm,
and overcoming those. And sometimes not overcoming those, sometimes like relapsing and making the same mistakes and falling into bad habits again.
mm,
And I think it's just having the mindset of like, oh, okay, and what next? Like,
mm,
let's move on. Like,
yeah.
and just
Mm,
keep persisting, yeah, about giving yourself grace,
mm,
being honest with yourself, um, acknowledging it, taking responsibility, but tomorrow is a new day
mm,
and we just keep on going. And this is a lifelong thing. It's not just like this program, we're always working on ourselves and we're always dealing with new challenges, even when you are blessed, even when you have kids, there's new challenges always. So developing these habits now, I think, is the best thing to do because
mm,
it was great for me.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad that having conversations with other sisters was helpful, reflecting together, right? And also then facing yourself, right, with all of this education. And yeah, the 500 virtues are there, always in the middle of our experiences, and they are really good tools to develop, as you said. So yeah, it seems like there was a lot of reflection and like a new beginning to that journey that you're going towards. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And
thank you.
yeah, we hope to see all of you that are there listening in the next cycle. And yeah, see you in another cycle as a participant or as a facilitator, maybe next time. So yeah, thank you so much.